You have tuned in to Be the Voice podcast, where we are using our voices to shatter the silence by promoting healing from past trauma, aiming for victorious living, and uplifting the work to improve our communities. It's time to be informed, encouraged, and empowered with your favorite host, Dee Marie. Well, hello and welcome to Be the Voice podcast. This is your host, Dee Marie, and we are still in February. Well, actually, this is the last episode of February series titled Relationship Status. So the past few weeks, we talked to people that were single, we talked to those that were newlyweds, and we talked to those that have been married for over 20 years. Well, today we are going to go back and talk about dating. Yes, we heard all of that and you know, how it is to be single, how you went from single to be newlyweds, and how you went from newlyweds to be married for over 20 years. But okay, how do we even begin this process of even dating? So today we're going to get into it with another amazing couple. I want to say I know some amazing people because all the people that I've had on here, I actually know personally. And these are people that I really am inspired by, and just some amazing people that I have in my life. But before we get started, I want to let you know that Be the Voice podcast is actually brought to you by Voices Magazine. And Voices Magazine is an online magazine that is tailored to the voices of sexual abuse survivors. And inside the magazine, you will find the Counselor's Corner, Healthy Living, Tips and Safety, and we spotlight organizations that are actually in the community doing the work. So even though you're not a survivor, if you're not a survivor, the magazine is still for you because you will be informed, encouraged, and empowered, because all of the stories are people that have overcome past trauma and are now aiming to live their life victoriously. So if you want to pick up a copy, you can go to vocesmagazine.com, and that's VOSAS magazine.com, and you can purchase it there. You can follow us on Facebook at Voices Magazine or on Instagram at Voices Magazine. And if you need information as far as like counseling or any type of resources, you can email us at info@vocesmagazine.com, and that's info@VOSASmagazine.com. So as I said, this is the last of the relationships status February series, and it has gone so well and gotten some great feedback. So I'm really excited about it. But without further ado, I want to bring in my guest that we have today, and that is Earl Joyner and Kimberly Caffey. So let's go ahead and get them in the studio. Hello, Kim and Earl. How are you?
Hi.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. So glad to have you guys here. And we're just going to be talking this evening about you guys and dating. And I have some questions, but as always, I have questions, but it always end up being just a conversation because, you know, we'll start talking about other things. But first of all, thank you guys so much for being on Be the Voice podcast. I'm glad you guys said yes, and we can get into this conversation about what we call dating. So first,
yes.
What'd you say, Kim?
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Okay, so go ahead. And I want you guys to just introduce yourselves and tell us who you are.
I am Kimberly Caffey.
Oh, I'm Earl Joyner. I thought you want a little bit more.
All right. And I've known Kim for many years. We used to go to church together years ago as we were little kids. So just to have you on here and to talk about this and to see where you are, you know, even with Earl, I think it's just awesome. So we're gonna get right into this. So first of all, the title of today's show is dating. Well, relationship status is dating. Okay, so and I know people think of dating in different ways. Some people, because before on the previous shows of this month, we talked about courtship versus dating and all of that. And I know I titled it dating, but truly some people think of dating as just, okay, I'm seeing this person today. Now I'm going out to dinner with somebody else. I'm just casually, you know, going out with people. And then some people think, well, no, I'm dating. That means I'm with this guy exclusively, and that's who we are. So tell us kind of where you guys are and what your definition of dating is.
Okay, baby, you want to go first?
Okay, so I honestly think that dating is what you said at first. That's you getting to know someone. So dating is like you're not in an exclusive relationship, just trying to see where things are going to go. And you may have more than one person that you're dating. I don't think that the exclusive relationship comes into play until it's a conversation. And I think all too often, us as women, we're emotional beings. So, you know, the time, all the stuff that's important to us, we'll say, okay, well, this is my man now. And we're not, you know, we're past the dating, you know, or we'll just date one person because of the emotional connection. But yeah, dating to me is, yeah, you have options. Where we now, we're definitely, well, honestly, to me, we never even dated. Because we previously knew each other or whatever. So we kind of like when we hooked up, it was just like after a little minute, he was just like, when we go around people, I would introduce him and I'd be like, this is Earl. And he'll say, I'm your man. Right. And I was just like, okay, man. Right. So it wasn't a conversation or anything. It was just that's what it was. And, you know, I felt that it was a good vibe and I just went along with it. And here we are.
Yeah. For me, I think personally, I made it my thing to date and only focus on one person, even though we might be dating. I didn't like to juggle a lot of different, you know, people and personalities. So I kind of like to focus on one person and see where it goes. So I never really dated multiple people, but yeah.
That's awesome. Cause, you know, yeah, a lot of times, you know, even with men, you know, us as women, we think, oh, when they date, they're just out here just doing, you know, doing whatever. Because like Kim said, we are the emotional beings. So, you know, we want to, honestly, a lot of times we want to be exclusive right away, you know, even though we don't even know where this relationship is. So I think that's great that Earl, that you said, okay, I'm your man. He's like, let Kim know, like, this ain't just.
Right.
This ain't just something.
As your friend, I'm your man. I'm like, okay, my man.
Man. All right, and if you don't mind, so tell us, like, how did this begin? Because you know, again, Kim, I know you, and I know you know you've dated other people, and then when I saw you with Earl, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like they, you know, it was just. It just seemed like, and obviously I didn't know Earl well, but it just seemed like it was something that just clicked off the bat. So how did you guys get started?
So actually we met like, oh my God, it's been definitely over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would say 2000, at least 2008.
Yeah. So
when we first met, but yeah.
Yeah, we were going to Prince of Peace together.
Okay.
Earl, say he was my Sunday school teacher. I don't remember him being my Sunday school teacher.
And was.
But we knew each other then. But actually, March 26th of last year, we have mutual friends in common. So my best friend, little sister, is married to Earl's best friend.
Right.
Okay. So we went to a birthday party. She had a birthday party, and he was there, and I was there, and it just went from there.
I dropped it on a chance just to take a glance. Bittersweet love it. That's a song. I'm plagiarizing. But yeah, I saw her across the room, and you know, thinking back to when we previously met, you know, I always thought she was a wonderful person, outgoing and interesting. I was single. I didn't know what her status was, so we were alone. And I know I was alone. I didn't know she was there alone. I just took a chance, went over, started talking to her, and it just clicked from there, to be honest.
And let me tell you how I know he was the one. So when we left, he walked me to my car, and he went to his car. So I had a real bad Charlie horse, like, in my foot. I was like, oh, my God. So my best friend was waiting for me. Everybody was leaving, and I'm, like, getting out the car, and I'm trying to walk the Charlie horse out. And here come my knight in shining armor. He got out the car. Baby, he got down on his knee on the ground in the cold. And when I say massage their foot, woo!
What?
And I'm talking about like this the first time. I hadn't seen him in years, you know. But that's what he did. You know, you made sure I got to my car, okay, and I'm having an issue. Like, yeah, you stopped, got out the car, parked in the middle of the street, and was massaging their foot. I was like, woo! Woo! So, yeah,
so at that moment, Kim, you was like, this is it.
He was very intentional. You know, like all the time you don't meet men that are intentional. You know,
right.
They're very clear about what they want and where they're going. You know, they'll play around for a while. Or in the beginning, you meet the representative and they do all these nice things and get us hooked on them and then get us hooked on them. And then they just be like, nah, I'm finna go and do something else, or I'm gonna keep you dangling on. But yeah, he was real intentional from the beginning. So, yep, here we are.
And actually, that was one of my questions. Like, how did you know? So from that moment, you knew, okay, this is it. When he did that. And then as you got to know him, how did you, because think about it, people that we've dated in the past, you know, we might like them, but obviously they weren't the one. But when you met Earl and got to know him, what about him made him different from everybody else?
His intentions were clear. You know, the communication was there. He was upfront about what he wanted. He didn't play games, you know, and everything. So I knew. And just the way, everything that he do, like he wanted to cater to me. He wanted to just be there with me. He wanted to spend time with me. He would always, you know, want to be around me. So he was real intentional and purposeful about everything concerning us. So I was like, okay, look, okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that was just it for me. But yeah, I've dated some, you know, I haven't had a really, really bad relationship, but you know how, like, like, this is it. Like, this is it. And then I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, you know, like, send me my Boaz.
Right.
I'm waiting on my Boaz. But of course, you know, I'm not thinking it's going to be Earl because we like totally opposite, like for real. But like, yeah, you know, he was a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? Like opening the doors, willing to conversate, you know, to communicate. And like I said, and just be intentional and clear about what it is that he was seeking and what he wanted. So I was like, okay, I can dig this.
So Earl, same question for you. So what was it about Kim that made you, you know, say, you know what? I think she is different from anyone else that I, you know, have dated, or just you knew that she was it?
Yeah. So first I would say, you know, never judge a book by its cover. I knew she was like outgoing and boisterous, but getting to know her, I saw her heart. She has a big heart for people, and it's genuine. So, you know, all the other things, you know, looks, personality, but like really like seeing her heart and her genuineness, it just captivated me more because, you know, I was interested and it just kept drawing me in, just, you know, just the person she is. And she's detail oriented, even with her feelings. And, you know, she's also intentional and she speaks her mind and says what she wants. And that's good. And that's cool.
And that was it.
That was it. And
that was it.
Good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say this too. Now I've been around you guys just a little bit. And I have said, and I even told Andrea, I said, you're very attentive to Kim. And I thought that was just so sweet, you know, because from what I could tell, like you pay attention to if she needs something or, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, because I mean, we don't always get that, but you are very attentive to her. And I was like, wow. Yeah. So I knew I wanted to talk to you guys about, because you're not, you know, married or engaged yet, but you're at that stage where, you know what, this is it. And we want to be exclusive and not just because, you know, we're in 2023 and, you know, people out here just doing themselves, you know, but just to see you, Earl, be so attentive to Kim, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Now, I did want to ask too, as you guys, well, first of all, how long have you guys been together?
It'll be a year on March 26th.
Okay. Look, congratulations on March 26th.
Thank you.
But what is it? And Kim, I kind of want to ask you too, because I know as a woman that we've kind of had these conversations, but what were some things, because we are used to who we're used to in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and when you have someone that is attentive and wants to do things for you, as a woman who is independent, who, has been doing things on her own, what were some challenges that you had in saying, in kind of releasing some of that stuff and allowing him to do those things for you?
It's still a struggle, even a year later, because, I spent more time being independent than dependent. So I just stepped back and just like let him be the man. Because sometimes that's just what they need, But he's just like want to do everything, and I'm just like, well, what am I supposed to do? And he's just like,
look, sit back and let him do it. No,
just sit back and look beautiful. But I just be like, like as me being a caring person, or I want to cater to you, and I want to take care of you too.
Right.
And it's not just about me; it's about us. So I want to make sure that your needs are being met, and that things are that we share things and responsibilities and duties. Like if you cook, I'll wash the dishes. You know what I'm saying? If you wash the clothes, I'll fold the clothes, which he be doing it. But anyway, so it's just that I want to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing. I don't want it to become where it's like the bulk of the load is on you. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be a partnership. I want us to share in, whatever it is that we have going on. But as being like opening the doors, I had to get used to like, okay, standing there like, and let him open the door. Or when we get out the car and I open the door, and he be like, what are you doing? So now if I catch myself open the door and he coming around the corner, I hear him close the door back, so I'm learning to allow him to be the man and be the nurturer and let him take care of me and let him be attentive to me, and all the things that he want to do, be there for me and to love me in the way that he needs to do that.
Right.
Some people, it's a need for them, and like for me, it may not be a necessity, but that's what he want to do. So I want him to do what makes him happy concerning me.
I know that's right. Now, Earl, was it challenging for you to try to say, okay, Kim, let me do this, because I know sometimes independent women we could be a challenge. I get that. But was it a challenge for you?
The challenge for me is, not to, trying to have a balance of it, understanding that she is independent and not, not try to, be overbearing with it.
Right.
It's kind of, okay, kind of step back and let her do some things. And, but it's not hard for me to do those things. It's more harder to be like, okay, let me not do that. Let me give her a chance. I think, think about how she feels and what she says, what she just said. So I think the challenge more so is, understanding that she's an independent woman.
Right.
And I understand what she's saying and I'm still do it, but I'm not gonna, I consider, letting her do some things that she might want to do that, she's used to doing. So yeah, because it's about, I know it's about us, but I enjoy, doing things for her, and she goes above and beyond for me. So
right,
it's nothing for me. So yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. I had a question. Lord, my brain. I hate this. When I be having a question, I can't remember what it was. Oh my goodness. I hate when I do this. Okay, I'll come back to that. Gosh, I hate when I do this. So when you guys said, okay, finally decided, you know what, we're gonna be together and we're gonna do this now, because I think, you guys could be an example for couples that or people that desire to be couples, or because dating out here is treacherous. It is something else. But I do think that the way you guys display, your affection for one another and how Kim, how you just so happy, you know, because you are. Now, do you guys even like look at yourselves as like a couple that people can look up to? Have you even thought about that?
I have not.
No, I haven't. No.
Y'all like, we just out here, we doing
right. Look, this is
we doing us.
This is us.
Yeah, because I do think that and I can only speak from a woman's standpoint because I am a woman, but I do think that sometimes you know, it's hard for us as women to let our guard down because, you know, we have, you know, dealt with some, you know, some men out here that's just, you know, not doing what they're supposed to do or just not treating us the way that we want to be treated. And it's so hard sometimes to let your guard down, you know. And Kim, was it easy to let your guard down with Earl because of who he is? Or did you still sometimes find yourself kind of guarded a little bit?
So I made up in my mind, because usually what we do is we bring our past relationships into our future relationships. Yes. And that, you know, have a tendency to make it go bad. So I made an oath to myself until he shows me something different, and I have to look for those things.
That's good.
I'm just going to go with the flow. So I'm not going to worry about if like you on the phone, like who you texting, or, you know, all the things, you know, the things that we worry about, if you cheat, or if it's another woman, or, you know, whatever. So until you show me those things or I see the red flags, I'm just going to let this flow. I'm not going to, you know, go into it thinking about things that happened in our past relationship,
right?
You know, or in my past relationship, or, you know, or whatever. Yeah, we just I'm gonna just let this be, because sometimes you bringing the past into your future causes problems, you know, and it's hard to let go of that because that's what we know. And to be guarded is hard for that person because they have to unpack all of the luggage.
Yep. Yeah.
That's why healing is important. I feel like honest conversations are important, which we, you know, we have those. And like you say, when you say like with women, sometimes it's hard for us to go into relationships. It's like that for men too.
It is,
you know,
yeah.
And I'll let Earl talk about that if you want to talk about that. But yeah, it's not just women, you know, it's men too, because men have traumatic experience with, you know, other women, you know, or whatever. And we have to deal with that and unpack that as far as them. So relationships are hard work, period. And I don't think it's just like with your significant others. It's with your friends, whoever. It's any relationship. It's work. And, you know, you dealing with somebody other than yourself is work. So getting to know somebody, you know, all of that. So conversations, communication, honest feelings, you know, don't let things fester and build up. You know, don't wait until, okay, I'm gonna let this pass, and then something else come up and be like, yeah, and you did this the last time, and you did this the last time, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I believe in the situation when it come up. And Earl, he's non-confrontational, like he don't like confrontation. So, and you know, I have to just explain to him, like, you know, like I'm the type of person, like, hey, we need to deal with this. Like, no, I'm not gonna. It's bothering me. I'm not gonna let that go. But I understand him, and he understands me, and I think that that's very vital to have a relationship.
Yeah. And actually, when you said healing, that's what I was going to say too. And Earl, I want to ask you this as well. How important is it to kind of heal from that past stuff instead of bringing all that baggage into the relationship? And you as a man, I mean, Earl, how is that coming into it and knowing that, okay, I don't want to bring all this, you know, past baggage into this relationship?
Yeah, I think healing is important because you want to present yourself for yourself as a whole person, and you want to present yourself to another person, the other person as a whole. You know, you want to be whole and not deficient, and you know, things that bring you down and take that person down with you. You want to be fair. You know, like Kim, she helps me recognize what my triggers are. When we talk about those past relationships and past traumas and past hurts. And, you know, I don't know if she knows it, but I reflect on that because she brings it up so well. She points it out very well, precisely. And, you know, on the surface, sometimes I don't want to admit that she's right, but, you know, I know it hits him like, man, she's right. So I'm thankful for that I can work on those triggers because I want to be whole,
right,
selfishly, for myself and for my mate. So I think it's very important. You want to be whole, and that way you give your best, your very best.
yeah, that's good. I think whole. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
And I also was going to say, a lot of times we have trauma and we don't know that we're traumatized. And our trauma starts when we're children.
Yeah.
From the way that you were nurtured as a child, the way you were loved as a child, and then, being in other relationships, you take that over into other relationships. So I feel like, and even now, me and Earl are talking about, we're going to definitely seek counseling. Therapy, that's a taboo in our community. We don't really talk about that or whatever, or you were taught what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Right.
Then men are taught to suppress your feelings. Like, men don't cry, men don't do this, men don't do that. But in order to have a healthy relationship, like he says, you have to be healed and you have to be whole. And the things that bother you or the things that, that's keeping you bound, you have to get that out. And, and sometimes we don't even realize that we have those issues, or,
right.
that, you be thinking like, well, ain't nothing wrong with me, but it is.
And people say that, and it's like, everybody can see something wrong with you,
except for you. Yeah, but you don't see it as an issue. And then sometimes we're not around people that point that out. And then sometimes you don't even know that maybe because of, something that happened in your past, or, when you were in a relationship, past relationships, because usually when you get into a relationship with somebody, of course, you discuss your past relationship. And I'm like the type of person where I pay attention to everything. So if one little thing out of place, I'd be like, I know, it's like, yeah, you did this, or you doing this, or something wrong, and you saying, well, ain't nothing wrong. And I tell him, I'd be like, I pay attention to you. Even when you don't even know I'm paying attention to you, I'm paying attention to you. Like he had a thing where like he pick the skin on his lip. So like we're in the car and he just be like, and that mean his mind is going. So I'm like, baby, what's wrong? Or I have to let him, or I just look at him and he'll know, that he picking his lip. So, but I know at that point something is wrong. Like you're not just doing it because you don't do it all the time. But that's just how much I pay attention to him. But I'm just like that, period. I just pay attention to people, period. You don't even have to tell me there's something wrong. Like I know something is wrong, because I pay attention to you. And not to the point to where I'm just like studying a person. I'm just real observant. So when things change, or whatever, I pretty much kind of like pick up on it, even if the person don't say anything. But yeah, But
I think also it's good though that you said that to have that communication, because like you said, some people don't have people in their lives that can point out some things that maybe they, you might want to go talk to somebody about that, or, you might want to seek therapy, because there's nothing wrong with therapy. And I think, especially in our community, it has been taboo for so long, but you guys feel like that, like you're with someone that I can tell whatever to this person. And I know that it's good with, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, like Earl, like you tell Kim something, well, she gonna get on the phone and tell all her friends, like, girl, let me tell you what Earl said today, but.
Did you hear what he said?
Look, y'all laugh.
No, he gonna talk about girl. That's what me and Pee Wee be doing.
But you feel safe with someone that you can communicate. And so how important is communication when it comes to even, getting to know somebody as you go through that, when you first start seeing each other till now you guys are a year in, like how important is that communication?
Very, very important. I still struggle with it, honestly, because, I don't want to be a burden, and I don't, I feel like, as a man, I need to, man up and, take care of, what I'm going through, even if it's emotionally. So it's a challenge, but I know it's important. And we give each other constant reminders of that. So I appreciate that. And, and with communication comes trust. And I'm learning to, trust her more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, she's proven to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
My human nature, steps up sometimes, and, I might step back because, I think I'm a professional at shutting down. I've been in the past, I'll say, shutting down. And I think it's a cop out and it's easy. I'm learning that was just easy to do, just shut down, not say anything. But, I won't put this on all men, but I think it's, something that we might be stereotyped with, or it's actually true that, we, lack some communication skills. And then it comes up with, being non-confrontational. They say, make a woman, try to keep your woman happy, let her, vent and all that kind of stuff. But I need to vent too. I need to get my things on the table, my ideas and my thoughts on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, suppressing it is not good. So it's a work in progress. I'm not going to say I'm all the way there yet, but I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm confident in the journey. And I feel myself getting better. So, I thank God for it, and God sends constant reminders to me, that I'm on the right path, and that's amazing. Even through whatever you're going through each day, for God to give you a reminder and at a random time, you're like, wow, and it points back, to us, the happiness that He's given me. And and other things that I it's like I got you. So I'm really enjoying the journey, and because I know the communication is very important, and I'm happy to
look at Kia. I love it. And Earl, you said something key too about trust. Because, trust is something that's earned, and as you get to know people and really, and I think it's also important to develop a friendship, to get to know them, because you, like, once you if you guys eventually, if you get married, I'm not pressuring you guys in anything. I'm just saying, but but building that friendship and that trust, because on a previous show, one of the married couple said, I like her as a person. Yes, he loves her, but he like her like she is his friend. And I thought that was so key. Even with being in a relationship and building up to, to that point, it's like that trust and friendship, it has to be there, and enjoying each other's company, like truly, this my boy, this my girl, like we can share secrets, we can go out, have fun kicking it together, because y'all have built that friendship. But Kim, I ask you this too, like, how important is that? And that trust factor, it definitely has to be important.
Right. As far as communication, I feel like it's important, but I think the biggest thing is, like, he be so busy, like he wants to please me in every way. So you like, you don't want to say the wrong thing, you want to do the wrong thing, like that. But his emotions and feelings are important to me too.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm just gonna take for granted that you want me to be happy. I want you to be happy with me too. So I push him to express himself, or to communicate, or to open up and say your likes or your dislikes or whatever. And then in communicating, I feel like certain things, I feel like in a relationship, like you don't share outside of your relationship.
Right. I agree. I absolutely agree.
I'm learning with him, and this is the first time ever, like I don't share outside of, my relationship. I just let people, you see what you see, but everything is not for everything.
Right.
We are the typical couple. We don't always agree. We don't always, get along, or whatever. And I learned early on, because what I would do is, if we have a disagreement, I'm calling my sister. That's my go-to. Mm-hmm. And, it was like, he was really upset about it, and I was like, okay, so I won't do that anymore, because I know that makes you, feel a certain type of way. But I know everybody have like their go-to or whatever. And you also, you could vent to outside of the relationship, because you need that release, you know. But I don't do it like, let me call this person. Let me ask you your opinion. Let me ask you, your opinion, because everybody don't have your best interest at heart.
Right.
So you have to be careful with, with doing that. But, communication is very important. It's important to be with someone who is willing to communicate. Like, we can't have a successful relationship if we do not communicate, If you don't communicate, how do I get to know you?
Exactly.
How do I get to know you? How do I get to know your likes? And how do I get to know, your dislikes? If we don't communicate, if I do something and you dislike it and you don't tell me, I think it's okay. So I keep on doing it. And then eventually one day you'll explode about, I don't like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I've been doing it all this time.
Right.
So it's important to be upfront and communicate properly from the beginning. Like he said, like, I'm very verbal. I'll communicate, because I feel like that's the way that we'll have a successful relationship. And then I think with communication, the trust comes with it.
Yes, that's good.
You're willing to open up, every time we communicate and share, I'm able to trust you a little more, because I can communicate this with you and I feel comfortable. That's how you begin to feel comfortable, with people. And that's how, by getting to know them. So communication and trust are key factors in having a successful relationship. And there's no such thing as a perfect person. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. That do not exist. Like I said, it's work.
Yes, it is work.
It's the key factor. You have to be able to communicate what it is that you want. And also you have to be able to, sacrifice and be selfish and say, hey, this is what makes me happy. And if you're not happy, then I'm not happy. And it's going to be vice versa. If he's not happy, then I'm not happy. I'm not going to be selfish and just take all the glory, like, oh, he giving it all to me. Let me suck it all in. It's a two-way street.
Yeah. And also too, I think it's important too, to be a person of your word. Like, we want to say, okay, I want to trust them, but we have to be trustworthy ourselves. Like, we can't say I'm going to do this and then you don't follow through, but I think it's important to be a person of your word and to show yourself trustworthy, in a relationship. And again, too, I think, in we see a lot of stuff on TV, people just kind of messing around and doing this, and that doesn't really build a foundation, especially when you not really focusing on getting to know the person. People just out here just sleeping around, doing whatever, not really getting to know who they are. But I think too, it's important to show yourself trustworthy. And when you guys got together, were you at a point in life where you were satisfied being single, or were you like, okay, God, I'm ready to meet the person that I want to be with?
For me, I wasn't either like set on being single or being with somebody. I did have conversation with God, like I don't want to be alone. Like, who wants to be alone? So So I and to have friends, or you have to show yourself friendly.
Yeah.
I had to encourage myself, take risks, or take chances, and to meet new people, try different things. But I was never focused on being single or being with somebody. I was just going to be myself, or find out who I was, and actually be available.
That's
be
good.
available and
Yeah.
not be a recluse. So, but
Mhm.
I did know I knew I didn't want to be alone by myself.
Right.
And I think about relationship. I think about a partnership and building and making something great. With someone. So
Yeah.
I guess that's all I got for that. Go ahead, man. Did you want to answer that?
I was at the point where I was tired of just dating and meeting people and we do the little thing. It is what it is. So I
Right.
was tired of that, and I was praying. I was like, Lord, like if you send the person, like I didn't really know if I was like really ready or whatever, because what we think is ready, God may say you ain't ready. But I
Right.
was just tired of just being out here and just giving myself to different people, not just physically, but mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally. And at that point, I was just drained. And I
Yeah.
knew what it is that I wanted in a man. I knew that I wanted to be with somebody. I didn't want to be alone, for the rest of my life. I grew up in a house full of single women.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was raised by single women, with failed marriages, or whatever. And I didn't want that. And then I didn't, and then I wanted to show my kids like something different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I wanted to be with somebody. I wanted to share my life with somebody. I wanted to spend my life with somebody. And I was tired of just the girls' trips, like we're gonna get together, Galentine's, and we gonna do girls tripping. Like, and look, Lord, I'm 44. Look, I'm getting old. Look, send them on down. And I promise you, everything that I prayed for and I asked God for, God did it.
I love it. I love it.
Like,
but girl,
I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm just.
But girl, you said the girls' trip. I'm like, look, I love my friend.
Yeah, but God,
I'm tired of the girls' trip. Right. No, look, I'm not. I do have fun with my girls when we go out. I do have fun. But I know what you're saying. But like, I'm ready for a couples trip.
I want to go somewhere with my husband.
Well, I know that's right.
I want to be able to enjoy, like I spent, I've been with my friends for like all this time. Like, hey, I'm 44. Like, give me some years that I'll be able to enjoy, taking trips, vacations with my husband. And guess what? I still make time for my friends.
Yeah.
Still want a girls trip, but I want experience other things.
Okay, so what would you say to people because a lot of people settle. They settle for, like, okay, well, it may, it may not be all that you want. Like, it could be a bad relationship, but they will settle just because they are with somebody, and we've all done it. We've all been there, where it might be a bad relationship, but you're kind of just in it. What advice would you tell someone on like patience or not settling, but actually allowing God to bring somebody into your life that is someone that you want to share your time with?
With settling, don't do it.
Yeah.
And with settling, you are putting yourself on the back burner. You are. I know, relationships, there's a sacrifice. I think my baby said it early, if I'm not happy, how can I make someone else happy? Or,
right.
Even approach this subject, making them happy. So when you're settling, you are not going for what you need as a person, I think. And from experience, it leads down the wrong road just from experience. And I told myself I don't want to ever go that way again because it's horrible. It's a lot of regret. Well, you live with regret and, time passes, and you can't get that time back, So I think we should make it a point to live our best lives.
Yeah.
And with that, allow for yourself not to be guilty about it.
Yeah.
Because, but it goes back to communication. You want what you want. And so I think it's a detriment to you if you settle. I don't know. I'm not really saying what. I'm not gonna say that because some good may come out of it, but it might not be for you. It might be for someone else.
Yeah.
Even if it's, and I know, for example, you want great things for your kids. A lot of people sacrifice happiness for their kids. I understand that, and been through that. But I do think I know that there are opportunities for you to to let your requests be made known and not settle and strike out for what you want. That those opportunities are there. And sometimes we ignore them again because we're sacrificing for others. But I would just say no. I don't recommend that for anybody because it's not healthy and it's not allowing yourself to be your best self.
Yeah. Kim,
is it my turn yet? No. So I think that as human beings, we crave companionship.
Yeah.
And with companionship, like I was saying, a lot of times, if somebody's giving you something that you want, if it could just be conversation, if it could just be, like even in the dating phase, conversation, or you doing some things that I like, or, and we mistake that for something that it's not. So that's where communication comes in, and you have to have intentional conversations where if this person if they're telling you, well, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. If this is it doesn't matter what they show you. Believe what they told you.
Yeah.
So their actions may say one thing, but they already communicated to you what it was. So a lot of times, I don't think it's necessarily that you're like settling if you had the conversation. It's just that you want what you want at the time. And the conversation, we just have to have conversations. Let me just say that. Just honest conversations. And then I think that will prevent, I don't even know if it'll prevent the settling because we crave companionship.
We do crave. You're right. We do crave.
And whatever that looks like, whatever that companionship looks like at the moment, we settle for that because that's what we want.
Yeah.
But we have to get to the point to where we love ourselves enough to say, I deserve better than this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So no, to tell someone not to settle, I think that it's hard to do that because, like I said, that's what we crave. Somebody's giving us attention. Somebody's giving us what we want at the moment. If it's like, even if it's a date here or there, or whatever, but you have to get to the point to where we love ourselves enough that if the person is not giving us what we want, or if we have that conversation in the beginning and it's not what we want, that we just don't even enter that, that sign that say, do not enter. And we enter anyway. You already been warned. The warning sign was there. If it's not, you just have to be clear about what it is that you want and where you want to be. And you just, go from there and stop thinking that we're going to love a person. We're going to give ourselves to a person and we're going to do this and we're going to change their mind.
Okay. Now that is key, Kim. That's key.
No. Because if I tell you that I don't want a relationship, if I'm telling you I don't want a relationship, it don't matter how many flowers you buy me. It don't matter how many trips and vacations you take me on. I'm still not ready. So
right.
We have to get to a point to where we love ourselves enough to be like, you're not ready to be in a relationship. Okay, well, moving forward, because then we're going to settle thinking that I'm going to give you some good, enough good to make you want to be
tell
with
the
them.
truth.
And
Right.
And that's just, it's not going to do it.
It's
So,
not.
self-love.
Yeah. And also too, sometimes it could be the opposite when you said, listen to what they say, not their actions. But sometimes you got to ignore what they say and watch their actions.
Yeah,
You know, because they could say one thing and then, you know, next thing you know, their actions and words are not lining up. And to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and like you said, Kim, we have to love ourselves enough to know, okay, this is not it. And even the person could be a great person, but whatever it is just not for you. And you know, okay, I'm just gonna get out of this, and we can stay friends or whatever, but this is just not who is for me, and it's okay. But a lot of times, we, like you said, we do desire companionship, and we will just stay in something and not even be happy, but because you have that companionship.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and sometimes it's a fear of failure, like, you know, you failed at something, but it's okay.
That's good too.
It's okay. There's a time for everything under the sun, and sometimes there's a time to move on. So,
yeah, you have to be honest with yourself. At the end of the day, if you're not honest with yourself, then you're going to end up hurting yourself. Because if you tell yourself, if you see what this is, and you tell yourself that it's something different than what you honestly know that it is, then you get that settling spirit, and then you're going to end up hurting yourself. Be honest with yourself. If someone is showing you that we just booty buddies, then that's what it is. You know, if they tell you that this, I mean, honestly.
Be honest, yeah.
You have to be honest with yourself. Do I just want to be booty buddies with this person? If we try to have an open, honest conversation and you never want to have an open, honest conversation, in your mind, you have to be honest with yourself. Is this the person that I want to deal with? Is this the person even I want to even settle for?
Right.
If you never take me anywhere and all we do is just have sex, then guess what? That's what this is based on, regardless of what you have to be honest with yourself, regardless of what, like you saying, what you saying and what we doing ain't lining up.
Ain't lining up, right.
So say, hey, Roger, we got a problem. So just honest with yourself, self-love, communicating with yourself, and self-talk. You have to talk to yourself too. People say you're supposed to talk to yourself. I talk to myself and answer myself. So if you want to call that crazy, consider me crazy. but don't, like that's definitely important. Like and then doing self-evaluations. Yes. Self-evaluations. If you keep getting into these relationships with these people and everything going wrong, why do I keep drawing these types of people?
Okay. Oh, Kim, that's good. That's really good.
It's something about me. You know, we don't like to take self-inventory. It's something about me that keep drawing these type of people.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of stuff that, you know, like another conversation for another day, but it's really deep. It's really deep.
Yeah. No, that's good, Kim, because we do have to look in the mirror because you're right. If we always run into the same type of people, the same type of relationship, then there's something that we need to either say, okay, I need to value myself more, or there's something that I need to work on, or something that I have to do to stop running into these kind of people, you know, because otherwise we'll keep doing it. And that's insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Yeah. True. And one thing I do like what you said, Earl, is when I asked about, were you guys at a place where you were, content being single, but you said that you wanted to, start being available. And to me, it sounded like you're saying, be open to meeting, new people, be open to being in a relationship. Because I think I have found myself sometimes not always open, but I think that comes also to understand that when you get into a relationship, you got to be vulnerable, and vulnerability is not always easy. But you have to, because if you remain closed in a relationship, it's like the other person gonna feel like they beating themselves against a wall because you can't open up. Yeah. And okay, so the last question. So it seems like you guys are kind of, I want to say, do you think you're opposite or you balance each other out? It seems like you balance each other out is what I'm
I just say balance each other out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Balance each other out.
Yeah.
Because I know Kim.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I thank you guys so much for being on the podcast. Do you guys have any last words for anybody watching that might need some encouragement?
I would say that when you feel like all hope is gone and there's no one out there for you, just hold tight. Your Boaz, your queen, your mate, your soulmate, they're out there. And don't look for it in the person that you think that you want it to be. Just look for it in the person that you never imagined that it would be. And that's going to be him or that's going to be her.
That's good, Kim.
Yeah.
That's good.
I would like to encourage people to be honest, with yourself and with others, with your communication, letting them know what you want. You don't have to wait till you're, past your 40s to make it known honestly what you want and what you're looking for, even if it.
Oh, what?
That's okay. 40. We're young. We're not getting older. We're getting better. But anyway, encourage people to be honest and not be afraid to express your true feelings.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, Earl and Kim, I wish you guys the best. I love your relationship, and I think you guys look at Kim. Just I like to see you guys happy, and I think that's awesome. So again, thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your relationship with all the listeners and viewers of this podcast. And I'm sure that many will be inspired by it. So again, thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's podcast of Be the Voice. And this was our last episode of the Relationship Status, the February series. So I want you guys to stay tuned. We got some great episodes coming up. We're going to talk about the family dynamic, and just some other things, people that are doing work in the communities to improve our families. We just got a great lineup coming up. So be sure to continue to tune in to Be the Voice podcast. And again, thank you guys so much for always tuning in. And I will see you next week.